Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to be talking to you guys about parents' rights and for parents who have children in the special education system. My name is Neha Yadav. This is Aminah Shabaaz. When you go through the special education system, there are a lot of words that get thrown around, and the meanings can be complex, and we just want to let you guys know that you have a right to know what the meanings of these words are and what they mean in your specific case. I'm going to read just the brief definition, or at least what they stand for a couple of these words, and then Aminah will take over and talk about the rest of the definitions. So some of the terms that you're going to be introduced to are these on the screen. I'm going to say the first couple of definitions, and Aminah will take over and explain to you the other ones. For example, you may see ESY, that stands for Extended School Year. Then FAPE, which stands for Free Appropriate Public Education, which is what your child deserves and is entitled to. FBA, which is Functional Behavioral Assessment. IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. IEE, Independent Educational Evaluation. IEP, Individualized Education Plan, which we will talk about in our presentation. LRE, Least Restrictive Environment. NCLB, No Child Left Behind. OT, which is Occupational Therapy. And PECS, which is Picture Exchange Communication System. Lastly, PLP, which is Present Level of Performance.
Okay, and for the remainder of the list, PT is Physical Therapy. PWN is Prior Written Notice. SLP is Speech Language Pathologist. 504 is Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. ABA is the Applied Behavior Analysis. APE, or APE, is Adapted Physical Education. ASL is American Sign Language. BIP is Behavior Intervention Plan. And ESL is English as a Second Language.
It is very important that you have 2 years to take action and to take advantage of your opportunity to voice your concern and make sure that your child is getting the most appropriate education possible. So please keep this in mind through all your experiences with the special education system.
Okay, the process is for recommendation, evaluation, and evaluation is done by a school, but you can also have a private evaluation done and have the school cover the cost of that if you understand how your rights or what rights you have under the system. An IEP and then no rep.
Before you go through the special education system, this would be a good way to go through this checklist and see if you're meeting everything that's on this checklist or if there's anything that you don't understand. So in order to receive the appropriate education for your child, it would be really beneficial to follow along the next few slides and see if you meet everything.
Okay, on the checklist, the recommended evaluation. Requesting an evaluation is important. Read the evaluation. If there are things in the evaluation that you don't understand, ask, because your ignorance of the language or ignorance of what's in the plan can hurt you and your child and not have the best appropriate outcome. So you want to sign the evaluation so that it's documented that you agree to what the plan is stating. Make sure your concerns are addressed. If things aren't addressed, follow up, send letters, document through certified mail, send emails, send faxes, save the confirmation sheet. You want to have evaluation reports, and they should be received within 60 days. Make sure you're conscious of when that 60-day date expires so that you can call. If you haven't received it, follow up and request the documentation that it was sent. And then you can meet with the IEP team to develop an IEP. The IEP that your child may be on might not be the most appropriate, so you can develop ways to improve it, to change things, add things, or take things away that might not be working.
Okay, in terms of recommendation and evaluation, you or anyone else in your family or any type of interested third party, such as a school or teacher, can request an evaluation. The school must provide you with permission to evaluate. They have to let you know if they're going to evaluate, and you must agree to this, or you must agree to it in order for them to go along with this evaluation. And you have to have a notice of procedural safeguards. And you have the right to refuse this evaluation. If you know your child, and if you feel that they do not need an evaluation or you do not want an evaluation, you do not have to agree with what the school recommends.
Okay, for the checklist, IEP and no rep, school must give you no rep or a PWN. They have to give you documentation of what is going on with your child and what their course of action is. Read it. If you have questions, ask your questions and make sure that your questions are properly answered in a language that you understand. Return it to the school within 10 days if you agree, and if you disagree, check the box for mediation, hearing, or meeting. You have a right to agree or disagree, and if you disagree, there will be a forum or an outlet for you to address your concerns and why you don't agree. There's mandatory follow-up with school officials concerning progress, which means this has to be done. Mandatory is not an option. It has to be done, and it's the school officials, not just the teachers, but the people that are in charge of ensuring that the school is doing all the things that they are tasked with doing.
Okay, further, you do have the right to ask for another IEP team. If for some reason you think this team is not meeting what your child needs, or that you just want a different IEP team, you do have a right to ask for that. And the school must provide you with a new IEP team. And they must evaluate your child at least once every 3 years, 2 years if your child has mental retardation. So please keep this in mind. They do need to follow up with you, and you do have that right.
Okay, NOREP is a Notice of Recommended Educational Placement. It must be given to you before there's a change in your child's eligibility for special education services, determining your child's disability, whether there's a disability at all, whether it's dyslexia, whether it's ADD, which is a blanket term that is used sometimes even when it's not the proper disability, and what services your child will receive and where your child will get the services. You don't want to have the services set up from a place that you know your child will always be late to, and therefore they won't be able to get their full services. You want it to all be convenient so that it works in everyone's life and your child is able to get the services that are available.
So again, these are your rights. Your children should receive a free, appropriate public education. This is something that we hope we reiterated a lot during this presentation. And you have the right to understand every document presented to you. You also have the right to pursue other options and to know and understand everything that's been presented to you. And also, you are entitled to a transportation contract if you're unable to transport your child. So these are just some basic things that you do have the right to. So it's very important to keep these in mind. The end. Oops. Okay.
Thanks.